Hello, hello. How are you doing today? How are you all doing today? We are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Belinda, and I am one of the board members of Women of Grace. And if you haven't joined before, this is what we call Girl Talk. And with Girl Talk, we bring speakers and give them the opportunity to share their testimonies, give them the opportunity to share a little bit about their lives, and um, just to tell their story. And tonight we have the opportunity to talk to Dr. Shanice Waller, and she's going to talk to us. And we know that May is Mother's Day, and it's a month where my husband always says, for Mother's Day, the church is going to be filled, the restaurants are going to be filled, like everything. We're going to do whatever we can for our mom. But sometimes, for whatever reason, our relationships with our mom may not be the healthiest, or our mom may have passed away. And how do we deal with that grief? How do we hold her memory, but also continue on with life? And so, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give Shanice the opportunity to share her story. If you have a friend, or if you are grieving, or if you are managing, or you have tips, tools, tricks, please definitely share that in our chat. Also, share this with a friend. We hope that our conversation tonight will give us the chance and the space to breathe, grieve, cry, laugh, think on the happy moments, or maybe think of the moments we wish we could have had with our loved ones. So I am going to welcome Shanice, and we're going to get the conversation started. Welcome, Shanice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I like how you set the tone that we can feel our feelings today. That's what I want everyone to do while we talk.
Yes, that is a tool that I learned from therapy, because I'm not one. I don't like feelings. I'm like, let's just put that. I don't really want to talk about that. But I have to give myself space and opportunity to just feel what I feel, give myself that time, and then we figure out what our next steps are.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm not big on titles. I like to describe myself with an adjective. And I would say that I am a duality in every sense of the word. Before we get into my story specific to grief, I just tell you that I grew up in a blended family. So I was my mom's only child, but I also had the privilege of being the eldest daughter to my father's children. So it's really shaped, I feel like, how I show up in the world. I loved on and was very nurtured by my mom. I feel like I was her whole world, and she's a great mom. But then also I had that honor of being the oldest and really wanted to live in that wisdom and be a good example for my older siblings. I'm also college educated, which is how I met Belinda, and I had the privilege of going to a PWI, Georgia Southern, where I crossed Delta Sigma Theta. But then I got my doctorate of pharmacy from FAMU. So I also got to have those two very different experiences that have really shaped me into the woman that I am. And then, of course, I'm a woman of faith, which we'll get into. That has really helped to ground me. But I also believe in the importance of therapy and God, and
Mhm.
holding space for mental health, but also, knowing that God is my heavenly Father and my ultimate comforter. So yeah, that's a little bit
Awesome.
about me.
That girl practice that. I like that. I am this, I am that. So yes, and I appreciate that you bragged on yourself and gave space to highlight your upbringing and the importance of that.
Thank you.
So, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your mom and who she was beyond just being Shanice's mom.
Yes. So my mom was a light. And I love that. Some people share that same sentiment about me. But beyond my mother, I saw her as someone that really believed in being a servant leader. She was very active in our church, from Girl Scouts to youth ministry, from even doing outreach in the community and mentoring for those that may have come from broken homes and was looking for that motherly figure outside of their home. She just really, I feel like, lived a life that was based of purpose, which is something that I also tried to model. And then beyond that, she was a wonderful friend, who, in this season where she is deceased, that her friends are so comforting to me. And she really modeled what it meant to be a friend and to be supportive and show up for others as well. So that's just a little bit I got to see and learn about her beyond just being my mom and my rock throughout my life.
And I can tell, like, from knowing you and also like seeing your stuff on social media, like even after your mom passed away, you have those memories with her friend. Like I think you might have went to a concert with them or like still go to events. So that is good because sometimes we as women we don't know how to have friends and we don't know how to be a friend. We
Yes.
also allow people to be our friend because
Yes.
many times we do so much for other people, but we never give them space to reciprocate that. But that is awesome that she showed you how to do that,
Mhm.
and that you emulate that in adulthood.
Absolutely. Community is very important and it's far beyond blood for sure.
I agree with you, and I'm grateful too. My mom is actually on and she's talking in the chat, but she also showed me how to be a friend because, like, uh, we can be real petty.
Mhm.
And I don't do girls and I don't do women and all of my friends are male and all of the things. But
Yes.
it's good to have those examples of this is how you carry yourself as a woman. This is how you give back to others. And this is just how you just are a good person overall.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
thinking back on your mom's life, what are some memories that you have of her that still make you smile?
So many great memories. So I will say my mom was my friend, which is also a beautiful thing. You don't realize, kind of as you led, Belinda, everyone, even if your mother's still present, doesn't have the healthiest relationship, but we did. We had a very loving and I, fun relationship, for lack of a better word. So I think back, even I led with me being in a blended family. That can be challenging. And I think about my mom having the grace to forgive.
Mm.
Love you, Dad, but I heard that there was some infidelity, but nonetheless, he's a great father, and they found a way to co-parent. And so one of my first fondest memories was being able to go to Disney World with all of my family. Sometimes I spent summers here and holidays here, but to have that experience when I was maybe about 8, my mom, my stepmom, my dad, and all my siblings. That's a core childhood memory that I'll always remember. And then my last year of pharmacy school, which I think that's kind of when me and Belinda connected again. I was living in Orlando. We went to Disney World again for Mother's Day. Big kids. Me and my mom, I have pictures now and the little Mickey Mouse ears still. So like, I don't know, that I always remember how we could still be like big kids and like something that from childhood, I carry that into my adulthood to share that with her when I lived in Florida. And then also I'll share, she ultimately passed from lung cancer. But my mom had the mindset that she was a survivor. I mean, I think, as her illness progressed, I saw her health declining. You have to kind of make peace. She was on hospice and things of that nature. But when I say a life lived and fun, we have so many. I have so many fond memories, even through that I feel like her diagnosis didn't overshadow us enjoying life. So Essence, New Orleans is something else. It's like a fond memory of mine. We went to Essence together and pushing her in her wheelchair. We still were going to see all the celebrities. We saw Diana Ross together, concerts. Anyone that knows me, I love concerts. And I attribute that to my mom. That was something that we did together and that she modeled to me as a great outlet and how healing music can be. So that's something else that I always think about. Essence Festival in New Orleans will always be linked to great memories with my mom.
So is your mom the reason why you had the interest in healthcare and like going to pharmacy school? Because I'm not sure like when she got sick and like how long.
Yeah. So I don't think I've shared. She battled a lot of health issues, heart disease. She actually survived breast cancer. Her first I guess run with cancer was at 28. So I'm also big on preventative health and getting all the screenings. If you do have cancer in your family, the BRCA testing. There's so much out there now to see what cancer genes that you have, and I'm thankful that I don't have any of them. But that is, I would say that was some of the influence. I've also just really been always strong in science. And I had a church member who was a pharmacist. And as I kind of explored nursing, doctor, I'm quite sensitive. And so I felt like pharmacy was a good way where you're not so ingrained in the intricacies of the ailment and surgery and things of that nature. But I'm at the end, you got your diagnosis, we got the treatment plan. I could just be that little touch point monthly. You taking your medicine? You got any questions? No. Okay, maybe talk about this to the doctor. So I feel like pharmacy is a great way where if you are a little more if you're empathetic or empath, which I am, it gives you a great way to still have that ability to make impact, but not be so emotionally tied to the illness. So that was what kind of inspired me to go into pharmacy.
Gotcha, gotcha. And this is totally random. Wasn't one of the questions that I sent you. You have a beautiful voice. Did you get your voice from your mom? Like,
That's so sweet. I don't know. I mean, she was very charismatic. I feel like now, anytime when I do something very funny or like lively, like, oh my goodness, you remind me of your mom. So maybe, I don't know.
gotcha. Okay, I just a random thought I just had. Okay, so getting back to kind of the topic, what do people not understand about losing a parent?
Ooh, just how heavy it is. I mean, your parent, hopefully if you nurture that relationship, that's like your anchor. So I think a
Mhm.
lot of times with me, and I know people meant well, but like, oh, so glad she got to see you graduate high school and college. And like my mom, like I know now if it's a recipe, I'm like, oh, I wonder how I would want to call her for that. As I've gotten older, I think I value her wisdom in a different way. So I think that it doesn't matter if someone loses their parent at birth, at 18, 30, 40, even if they had milestones, even if they've already had a child, they've already gotten married, it's still just that I feel like your mom is your anchor, even more so than the father. No offense, but it's like your mom is that anchor to you. So it's a pain that just doesn't go away, but you just learn how to accept it. You
Mhm.
learn how to acknowledge it. And often, like I said, I'm grateful that my mom did have friends, and I feel like with time, I allowed her friends to show up for me in ways that I'm not, they never could replace my mom, but allowing them to be a motherly figure and a support to me in a way as well.
Gotcha. Now comparing from when she initially passed away to now, what does grief look like comparing the two from then and now?
Yeah. I would say it's a lot more honest. Something I wanted we'll get into this, but I guess it's one of the questions. I'm gonna go ahead and talk on it. Sometimes having such a strong faith, I think, can make you feel guilty for the
Huh?
anger and the sadness that comes up. I was ultimately my mom's caregiver. So I literally, like I said, saw her health decline, not be able to walk well. So in one sense, yes, I'm grateful that she's not in that pain, but like it was I feel like I felt bad for a while to like talk about the anger and the sadness that came with losing her. So I think I was in a lot of denial at first, kind of avoiding it, traveling. I had moved back home. So that's something else. You know, you want to be very present, but that's very challenging to think. I kind of like uprooted my life and, moved back home. And so then when she passed, I had got a job back home. So it's like I couldn't just leave that space. I was
Mhm.
just like in it literally all the time with memories of her every day. Her shoes are right there, her clothes are right there. So I think for me, I wasn't probably honest. People are like, you're so strong. No, not. Actually, I'm not. But I'm, doing my best to brave through it. So now I think I'm a lot more honest. I feel like I allow people, and maybe even me, allowing people to show up for me more.
Mhm.
Sometimes I love how people compliment me on my smile and my positivity, but being honest and vulnerable, no, every day does not feel like this. This past Mother's Day was a little bit more challenging for me because I think I've also experienced some other kind of disappointments, and you'll kind of see that kind of oh, I can't cumulative. It's a different. I can't think of the term now. Not a mental health professional, so some of the terms are leaving me. But I think even just a job interview didn't go well. So I just feel like I was just in a different space this year around Mother's Day, and anytime I'm disappointed, who was my person that encouraged me? My mom. So I did feel like this particular year was a little bit heavier. But what I have learned to do is still memorialize her and still honor her. So it's not always going on a trip or doing something fun. Like, how do I still connect with her? Do I make one of her favorite recipes? Or watch one of her favorite shows? Me and her, we used to go to Red Lobster almost every Sunday after church. I get some cheddar baked biscuits. I try to do the things that were good fond memories and still make me feel connected to her. And I'll share my I feel like my last, like every few years, I'm like, okay, let's try something different. So the last 3 years, I've been buying a plant around Mother's Day, and I really like, I nurture it throughout the whole year. I get a new one, and I look forward to, if I do get to have a family of my own, sharing that, this is something I've done to honor your grandmother, and hopefully these plants last long and long. And so I think it's really beautiful to find ways to still connect and memorialize your mother even when she's no longer here on earth.
Gotcha. I appreciate your honesty in talking about how your faith changed.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, because I think I not lost a parent, but because you have faith, Jesus will carry me through all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's carrying me through, can I be mad? Can I be angry? Maybe I want to cuss a little bit. Maybe I want to go fight. Like, how has your faith changed? Like, how did it help you? Or talk about your faith journey.
Yeah, no, I feel like my faith has again gotten more honest. I feel like maybe prior to losing my mom, I think if anything bad happened, I felt like this is a punishment, and like, oh, I gotta something I did, but it's no way that there's anything that I did to deserve the loss or pain that's associated with losing your mother. So I feel like I look at God as, like I said, a true comforter, as a father. He's not here. Again, it's not right or wrong. He can handle my anger. He can handle my pain, my questions, my uncertainty. And to be honest with him when I'm feeling those things, there's nothing wrong with, letting God know I'm having some really low thoughts today. One of my favorite things I said, my thoughts are not your thoughts. When I get too low, I reminded that he, it's not a punishment, but he's a comforter in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So then, what was the point that you went from allowing yourself to grieve and allowing yourself to also be mad or to go through those negative emotions?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I really. So my mom passed in 2017. I think it took until COVID, 2020, like kind of having to slow down. I'm a busybody. Like people talk about that, and we don't realize sometimes we're doing instead of feeling or being, and that was me. So I really think the pandemic kind of made me slow down. That's when I think I found, like, okay, what am I going to do with all of her things in this house? Am I going to rent this house that was my family home? So I had to really face that, and that the emotions just came up. And then, traveling back and forth, I think there's a saying, wherever you go, there you are. I'm thinking like, okay, I live in Atlanta now, but there were still things that were unfinished back in Augusta. So going back there, I just feel like that's when I was kind of like, oh, wow, like home, I go back there. My mom's not there, and she's the only child. My grandmother passed. So, and I still know my cousins and things, but I feel like it's just we had a very small family unit. So even that, like, now I got to ask to stay with somebody, but I'm going home. It was just all those things. I was like, wow, like this is okay. This is my reality now. That's when I feel like it really hit me, and that's when I was like I said, the tears would come, the anger. I feel like I'm in a blended family, but even that, like allowing myself to allow my siblings to be there for me, but then also sometimes understand that that's not at the end of the day, they have a different mother. So that like this expectation for them to just know things, that's not realistic. And I think that's something else I should have hit on. That vulnerability and really starting to see what you need as far as support, and not just expecting people to know that, because everyone grieves differently also. So someone that maybe you want that constant around your birthday or her birthday or certain holidays, you want people to check in. Some people want to be left alone, and then you act like everything's fine. Why would people check in? So just all those things, I feel like I've gotten a lot better about just being more vulnerable and honest about what I need.
And because it's your mom, like your mama know, and she ain't even you ain't got to tell her anything. She
Yeah.
just know, like, you sound a little off. What's going on?
Yes.
Your friends, they know you, or your family, or your significant other, your partner, whatever. They know you. Don't nobody know you like your mama.
Yes. That you hit the nail on the head right there. Yes. I think that's something that more and more I'm like, wow, like that motherly intuition. Yeah, it's irreplaceable.
So then, did going through grief make you like change your language? Because now you have to talk and now you have to tell people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely think it's helped me learn to be a lot more vocal. And I'm always a communicator, but I can't say that I'm super vulnerable. And I used to be. I think that's something that I've really grown in. And I talk about I'm in therapy as well. We talk about that. I think it's called like the wheel of feelings and things. Like it's a lot more feelings besides angry, sad, and
Mm-hmm.
happy. Sometimes it's overwhelmed, sometimes it's exhausted, like a tiredness when you just got so many things you're juggling. Like I will recommend, which is why I have Her Seeds Grow too. We'll get back to that. But like, I don't think you realize once you lose a parent, the estate planning, it's their physical things, but then if they have a home, if they have a car, if they had investments, it's just all these things that start compiling and compounding that you have to manage, and you need support, and it's okay to need support with those things, and don't expect people just to assume are that they're going to help. Sometimes you have to ask. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot because it's like, okay, I've lost this person. I got to handle the business of losing them. I
Mhm,
have to handle the grieving. I have
mhm.
to handle, if we do a funeral or whatever, and all of those things. And then your only child. So it's like, how do I do it all? And then you can't snap on people,
Yes.
and you can't be rude or negative, or if you want to go hide in your room, like I can't do that because they expect you to, you know,
Mhm.
hi, thank you for coming. Share the
Yes.
greatest memories of my mom. And it's just like,
Yes.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to go
think
to
that
bed.
first month or 2, I don't think you even are able to feel your feelings yet because you're comforting her friends and other family members and things as well. So yeah, I will say that was also something now that I think back, like, yeah, the first few months, I think you just in go mode, and have you even really acceptance that true absence of your parent. Mhm.
Gotcha. So for those who are supporting someone who's grieving, what should people say? Because like I am one, like I said, I've not lost a parent, or and I'm also one in this current state, me thinking through like how would I act. I
Yeah.
don't think I would be a vocal person. So when someone loses a family, like I don't know, like they may put it on Facebook or social media. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, first off, I want people to stop feeling so much weight. There is no right or wrong. Well, there is no perfect thing to say. I do think it's no
Okay.
wrong thing to say. But initially, I think if someone has the bravery to share that, I definitely think they are clearly showing that they want it to be acknowledged. So I know now I'm quick to be like, my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. I think it's something that simple, but more so than saying something, try to be present. Like I said, those first few months, that person is going through every emotion possible, probably not even realizing what they're feeling. And your presence means more than anything that you could say. And I would even advise more so than how you're feeling. Did you sleep okay? Did you eat? Like, those little things that I think kind of sneak up that you don't realize, like, I haven't had an appetite. What is that about? Or I'm not resting. And that, those are basic needs, that I think we often don't realize can be some of the first signs of like real like depression, or if we don't get a handle on that, things could get more serious. And then if you notice a pattern there, who are you talking to about it? If not me, have you found some support through your church? I will say in my journey, again, I was living in Augusta, and I think my first real vulnerable moment around the holidays, I'm so thankful there was a grief support event. And I was like, should I go or should I not go? And that was one of the most pivotal things that I did. And it just allowed everyone there to come up. We said something that we missed. It was around the holidays in December, what we missed about our loved ones. And then it just remind you like you're not going through this alone. And then it's okay to, even as a Christian, be sad, be angry, and miss them. And then start to try to figure out a way to still connect with them. Because I think that's something that's so important that we forget about. You don't, like people say, you don't get over grief. It doesn't go anywhere, but you just learn to live with it and acknowledge in a way that's healthy for you, whatever that looks like in the right time.
Gotcha. You kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but what should people stop saying
Yeah.
when you tell them that
So
mama passed or whoever?
yes. So I would say, I know what this is like. Everyone's grief is different, so I definitely think let's not try to have a pain battle. That's why I call them like when this happens, it's this they really just need space to share if they're ready, or like I said, I just feel supported. So I definitely think saying I know what this is like. Let's not. Let's
Mhm.
and maybe even like, oh, I miss her so much too. Like I said, to me, sometimes that's when it becomes like, okay, it's a competition for who's in the most sadness and pain right now. Like that's, I think those are two things that I would definitely advise you not to do.
Gotcha. So, for those who maybe are grieving loss, what would you suggest to them when it comes to maybe their first holiday or their anniversary? What
Mhm.
would you tell them to do or to kind of help?
Yes, definitely try your best to acknowledge that. What if it's journaling about it? I think the longer you try to avoid talking about them or acknowledging that you miss them, or acknowledging that absence of them, I think it just delays you grieving, and you're going to like it's not something you can avoid. So if you have siblings or have a spouse that's still alive, I think connect with them, be around other people that love them as well, for that support system. So that would be my thing. Don't avoid it like I did. I think I went on a trip to Arizona somewhere. I was like, oh, it's just another day. No, it was not. It was Mother's Day, and after that I was like, I gotta stop acting like Mother's Day is not a day that still matters to me and brings up feelings, and that I want to learn how to honor my mom, but also tend to myself on that day as well.
So, when you went on that trip to Arizona for your first Mother's Day,
Mm.
did you even give yourself space that time, or did you just keep it jam packed? Like, I don't want to.
So I'm gonna keep it really honest with y'all here. I have a really bad problem with I think looking for a romantic love is kind of like a void filler. So
Okay.
it was a romantic little getaway, and no, and then he didn't even talk about it. He didn't even bring up that it was Mother's Day. He ain't
Um,
around no more, but he didn't even bring it up. But yes, that's what I recall. And yeah, there was no acknowledgement of it. I think a couple of my line sisters did reach out to me. That was nice. I did think I made a little post, and even then, I think that was some of those times were like, so glad my godmom, my stepmom are here. Like I was kind of doing all that
the
performance.
theatrics, yeah.
It's like, but they're not your mom, Shanice. What are you? So I feel like it was very like, I'm fine. Like I don't think anyone would have known how heavy that day was for me. It was very would not advise to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. So, you started acknowledging your feelings. You
Mhm.
started therapy. You started journaling, figuring out how you wanted to honor your mom, and
Mhm.
you started a nonprofit. So, tell us a little bit about it and like what problems you're hoping to solve with it.
Yes. Well, we are definitely very much in the infancy stage, but I'm so grateful that I finally had the courage to start and create space. So, Her Seeds Grow is a grief support group. It is the purpose of it, of course, is to create community for those that have lost a parent, not just a mother. So it could be a father or a mother. And with that, we want to have like quarterly meetups. I started having like a Zoom call. There's a day in August 30th, which is National Grief Awareness Day. So I'll try my best to really acknowledge that as a space again to come together and just share fond and great memories with your parent. That space is also to talk a little bit about estate planning. I think
Mm.
that that's something that a lot of people don't realize how important that is. I'm so thankful. Me and my mom spoke with lawyers before she got really ill, and we learned about a way to like avoid probate. So it was a thing. It's a deed called a rights of survivorship deed, and I know those are some of the things I also want to talk about: wills versus trust, legacy, and how you make sure that you really honor what your parent desires. And so that is not just for someone that's lost a parent. That's honestly an educational piece that I want for all adults to start having those conversations with their parents before they're very ill. And then on top of that, there's also just a space with what are healthy outlets for grief? So
Mhm.
I got into yoga once. My mom passed, and that's something, just a way to calm your mind, get one with your body. People always say, like, when you, like, sometimes your shortness of breath, like that might be a signal emotionally something's going on. Tension in your hips. They say your hips is where you hold a lot of pain. So that's also another piece where we just talk about healthy ways of yoga, walking, what other different other ways to be physically active, because those are all good um, good endorphins that can be released. So there's also an aspect there. But yes, that is the purpose: community, education, and then, like I said, just learning how to really live with grief. And then lastly, I forgot about this, talk about legacy. Something else that I would have liked to share, I guess, say more eloquently, but I have come to really accept, one of my greatest gifts, I think, is connecting people. And
Mhm.
I have a strong passion just for myself to grow, but I've learned that growing my mindset, growing in my knowledge, and then also, like I said, just growing in community, like how beneficial that is. So her seeds grow is all about learning to transform that pain and that grief into really, like, how am I growing from this, and how am I learning to not only continue my mother or my father's legacy, but also build a legacy for myself from this experience. So that's also a huge goal of her seeds grow.
Gotcha. Now, someone asked, is the support group only for women?
Nope.
Okay.
Our target right now is like 18 to 50, because, like I said, I just feel like there's just not a space for that. There's a lot of grief support for people that have lost a child, which is, we get that. And then also children, when they, someone under 18, there's a lot. Kate's Club is a big organization here, based out of Atlanta. But I just started, sounds like there's not really space for young adults. And, like, just because you over 18 or 21, or like, or even me at 30, about to be 37, there's so many things that I'm still learning. And I just know me and my mom would be just like this, figuring it out together. So I just wanted to create that space for young adults as well.
Gotcha. And I appreciate your mom being forward thinking, because a lot of us don't like to have that conversation
Mhm.
about what they want their life to look like when they're not here. It's
Mhm.
just like, I'm dead, let me die. But you have stuff that you leave, and I have to grieve you, the loss of you, but then I also have to manage the expenses or the life you led. So
Mhm.
that includes the debt you had, the
Mhm.
house, the kids, the whatever. And I got to juggle all of this on top of people coming in my house eating all the chicken and want to sit and share their
Yes, and they want to sit there all day, go somewhere. And I was like,
Girl, yes. I and I have to keep giving the disclaimer of, I have not lost a parent, but like me and my sister have talked about it. One of the things, I'm not ready for my parents to pass away, but like, I grew up in Macon. My parents live in North Carolina. I got to choose one of those places to go when it is their time.
mhm.
But if I go to Macon, thankfully I ain't got to sit and let all those people. I know that they want to grieve,
Right.
but we do so much for other people to make them feel comfortable when it is us, the most immediate people who need the
Yes,
help. And I know y'all want to help, but us sitting there eating church's chicken ain't really helping me right now. Can
correct.
you help me figure out this insurance paperwork? Like, can you? I don't know,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I don't want to get on my soapbox about
No, no, those are very valid things. So that made me think about too, just like I said, having these conversations earlier than later. So again, you want to honor your parents' wishes when it comes to even final arrangements. So I guess that's one of the sidebar to that. My mom made it very clear that she wanted to be cremated. And it's funny that you mentioned, you started worrying about other people. Near the end, I was like, dang, well, should I at least just have a viewing before I do that? Even that was something I like wrestled with. And I was so happy. One of her good friends, my godmom, she's like, your mom told you what she want. Like, are you doing this because that's what you want to do? And my mom also, she was really big near in her last year. She had so many gatherings. Hey, just come over and watch a football game with me. Let's have a wine night. We had a cookout. So she was like, your mom allowed people to spend time with her while she was on this earth. So don't,
it.
I get the symbolism of a memorial services too, but I also want to encourage people to. It's very heavy, seeing that body. I hate to get morbid like that, but so if I really would like more people to have that conversation if that's really something that they want to endure, or that their children want to endure, or if you want to endure that, and have those hard conversations. Like, I know that's something that we've done, and maybe you did put some money down on the plot, but if they haven't, I'm telling you, I'm just so grateful. My images of my mother alive. I don't have that sitting there and just all these people crying over a casket. That's one thing I'm so thankful that that was her wish and I was able to honor that. In her memorial service, we had pictures there. She's cremated. I have a beautiful urn. Eventually, she did tell me where she wants me to put her ashes. I'm not ready to do that yet, and I don't have to. But that's the approach that we went, and I to me, I makes me remember her last days above on this earth, and joyous and good, a lot more good memories.
Gotcha. So as far as like a state, and this is not on the questions I sent you, but where do people start as far as figuring out the legacy
Mhm.
that that whomever
Yeah.
wants to like, where do you start with figuring that out?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, the biggest thing we always think about homes, and honoring, is that something that we want to keep in the family? But then we can even talk about other heirlooms. I know, like now that I've gone through that with my mother, my dad, he's from Virginia, so we talked about things back in Virginia that matter to him. I think we have like a family bell that's like really important to him. So I feel like some where it can be very heavy, I think to reframe is like, what are things that are really important that you want us to keep in the lineage of our family? What are things that meant a lot that maybe your mom or your father gave to you, and you kind of reframe it where it's about legacy and keeping important things in the family. So it starts with, like I said, basic things like the home, but also very, nice items. Like, I don't know, it might be like I said, a family heirloom. It could be a grandfather clock. That's something that somebody in my family got it. I'm not getting rid of it yet, but I don't have space for it. But just things like that are very important. It might be china, because we know that those things are very valuable. And our grandmothers, and you'd be surprised, little teacups and nice china that has been passed down from grandmother to grandmother, or the matriarchs of the family. But I will share later. I guess there's a group here. I have a lot more to work through, but Wills for the People is a beautiful organization here in Atlanta, and she talks in depth about how to have that conversation, and getting affairs in order, for lack of a better word.
Gotcha. So how has establishing Her Seeds Grow changed you personally?
Wow. I feel like it's just helped me in so many ways. One, to have the courage to share my story and remind me of, even just doing that, how impactful it is. Um, I still have some imposter syndrome sometimes, I'm just gonna be honest. And I have this all these high expectations, but I constantly remind myself, one, you can't perfect something that you haven't started. And from that, I've just met so many other people in the philanthropy space and other founders, and they remind me, if you talk to two people today, you've made an impact. We try to quantify things so much, but it's really just about making people feel seen and heard and connected, and let them know that you're a resource. So I think it's really empowered me to find value in just sharing my story, honestly.
Yes, and you can do it afraid. So
Mhm.
now, with you starting the nonprofit, was this something that you and your mom had talked about it? Like, was it her dream or vision? Or
No, no, not at all. Um, I just feel like, again, I could talk about that duality of who I am. I enjoy being a pharmacist, but I will say I've come to see healthcare sometimes, that impact that I thought I would be making, it could be challenging. It's still a business. And so I feel like this feeds that other side of me that's just really big about pouring to people, and it honestly, ministry, I feel like more and more, I feel like that's also a gift of mine, and how valuable it is to just share my story, and what I've learned. So
gotcha. Someone asked, how did you get past the awkwardness of the conversation?
the conversation, just talking about my mom's passed away. That's a good question. um I will say, I really think it was that event I spoke of, going to other grief support groups I was like, oh, this is like it. You realize you're not the only person that's lost a mom, and so I think just attending events that really helped me. So I did one. I think it was like the first or second year my mom passed, and then maybe probably about a year before I started Her Seeds Grow, which was in almost 4 years now. So 2022, I went to another grief support group. So that kind of helped me to open up going to other community events.
Gotcha. So it kind of helped normalize
Exactly.
that this has happened and it's okay to talk about
Absolutely.
it. Now, what legacy do you want
Mm.
Her Seeds Grow to leave behind?
Oh wow. No one's asked me that before. Um, so I'm very everything is I'm a very deep meaning person. So even the fact that it's called Her Seeds Grow, like I feel like think about like it's seeds, something, think about a mustard seed of faith, but even like my smile, that's a seed. The light I talked about, that's a seed my mother's planted in me. My mother was someone that served the community. Now I want to do that. So I think not making legacy even be something so big. It's just a seed, whatever little seed you can plant in somebody, a small conversation, a reference you share, like, oh, this was the lawyer that I talked to about how to get the appropriate deed for my mom's property, or this was a really good counselor that is faith-based that really helped me. So look, like legacy is that simple. We sometimes we think about this big lump sum we're leaving somebody, or this big gala that we had, but no, it's those small seeds that sometimes make the biggest impact.
That is awesome. And the fact that you understand the importance of it doesn't have to be so huge. Every little thing started off, everything started off in some little
Yeah.
infancy stage,
Yes.
some form of a seed or a thought or some small action. And it grew into something that we didn't know it could be what it is. But, just because somebody complimented you on your outfit, it turned into the positive attitude that you had at work. And
Yeah.
it kind of can grow from there.
Yes.
So, if your mom could speak to you today, what do you think she would say to you?
Oh man, that's a great question too. Whew. What would she say? I definitely think she would say she's proud of me
Okay.
and happy to see that I am doing my best to still do good work and trust God to do that. But also just encourage me. Some of the things you're saying, it's not about do it scared. I have a lot of moments where I'm gonna be honest with you, even Hershey's girl, like I said, I'm like, it's still in its infancy stage, and even talking about it, but just keep going. One of her favorite things she would say, God's got you. So I think she would definitely say that. Just keep going and know that God's got you.
And what would you say to her?
Ooh. Wow. I would just thank her. I would thank her so much. Like I say all the time, I'm gonna get emotional, but like everyone doesn't have a good relationship with their mom. And I'm just thankful. She was such a selfless woman. Um, as the older I get, you think about, like I said, going through divorce, going through all these health challenges. I never wanted for anything. And to know all that she was dealing with, and she just showed up for me and surpassed, I think, surpassed any expectations I had of her. So I'm just so thankful for our time that we had.
And she probably didn't know that you didn't see, because now being a parent, you don't want them to see you
Mhm.
cry or see you struggle or see, and you don't have any memories of that. And I
Yeah.
bet you things happen and I don't remember that. I
Yeah.
just remember my mama got my favorite dress. My mama did this, we did all of this and all of that. And, um, but she did it in spite of, and she did it because she loved you.
Yes. That is it. Yes. Such a loving woman. Mhm.
My pastor was talking about like the mother's love is similar to the love of Christ, in that no matter what you do, if you have a good relationship with your mom,
Mhm.
that even if I mess up or even if I go astray, mama's still gonna be like, okay, come on in here. It's
Unconditional.
okay.
Unconditional for sure. she modeled that unconditional love. Now she didn't mind telling me about myself because let me tell y'all, I had some good times sometime. And when we lived together, the amount of packages, she's like, all right now, and I know you got a good job, but why is there a package coming here? But no,
Every day.
but yes, loving counsel. She was a
Gotcha.
loving counselor.
What was your mom's name?
Cheryl Pamela Waller.
Thank you. Now, I always ask this as I end each girl talk, because Women of Grace is a ministry where our three pillars are prayer, fellowship, and service. So, in all activities that we do, we try to make sure that it encompasses one of those pillars. And Women of Grace is a ministry that is definitely built on a foundation of prayer. You were talking about during COVID, like that was a time of you having to like come to terms with the loss of your mom. And during COVID, it was a time for lots of people where they had to come to grips with a lot of things because all you could do is sit at home or, you know, spend time with your family or just be.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was when, like, Women of Great members always prayed, but I feel like that's when they took their prayer to a higher level. So I like to ask all of the participants, how can we as a ministry pray for you?
Mm, wow. I would just say pray for me to have the courage to use my voice. You talked about that, like doing it scared. I think that's often something I pray for most, to continue to have courage and believe that all like sometimes I have all these ideas, but believe that those are seeds from
Mhm.
God, from my mom, and that, to use my voice to share those.
You have so much to say and you have such a light. And just know that you don't have to say it all in that one moment,
Mhm.
but just continue to put yourself out there. Because I think you do, but then and this is me outside looking in, like I'm here, but I don't want to share because I'm not sure if it'll be received in a way that is impactful. But you came up with a whole group called Her Seeds Grow. So you never know what seed from what you said is going to make an impact.
That's right.
So if you don't give the seed, how can it grow?
I received that. Thank you. Yes.
So be open to just putting yourself out there and continuing to share what you have because we don't know when we're going to need help from Her Seeds Growth
I'm
and
telling you.
when we're going to need the seeds that others have planted or when we need to, maybe plant those other people.
Mhm.
So I appreciate the conversation that we've had. I was kind of nervous, like I'm not really sure. In the month of May, people want to, focus on those whose mothers are here, which we celebrate, and I'm grateful that
Yes, we are.
those spirits are still there. But we have on the other side people who going to Arizona because I'm just trying to get away and
Yeah. Don't want to walk down, don't want to go into the restaurant so much, don't want to walk into the grocery store, see all those balloons. Yeah. So I love that. That's again, we talk about our faith, like how two things can be true, where it's like joy and pain. I don't know. It's okay. And I'm thankful too that you allowed me to share this and not feel like, oh, this is so heavy. And that's something too that I pray that my spirit allows. Like, yes, this is something hard, but it doesn't always have to be heavy. We can find a way to create space where it's really a release.
yeah.
Letting it go and talking about it is healthy.
And I think the personality that you have gives the space for it to not feel heavy. Like, yes, it is heavy that your mom or your parent or your husband, your wife, whoever is not here. And that is okay to be able to say that.
Yes.
But then, like you said, and my therapist used to say, like your if and statements.
Mm-hmm.
If this can be true, but then also this other thing, and I just have to figure out how to balance the two.
Yeah,
And there'll be moments where I don't want to talk to nobody and I'm mad at the world.
that part.
But
And
then
that
there may be other moments where, I want to watch videos and, eat bonbons and think about the happy times I watch those, videos or the concerts or whatever.
yeah.
And there could be times of the in between.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's life. But it stinks that life has to end. Like I was talking to my friend, like, why Jesus made us come here and then he gonna tell us we gotta go.
Right. I'm telling you.
But he asked me, so I just have to go
Go,
with
come
it.
on now.
So anyway, I thank you for your transparency. I thank you for sharing your story. I
Mhm.
want you to continue to share your life and stop saying that this is infancy and just continue to do whatever he told you to do.
Yes.
It'll land wherever it's supposed to land and let
Yes.
these seeds go. I got me a little garden out there
Amen.
and we're just gonna let the cucumbers and the sweet potatoes and all the things just be what it is.
Yes, I received that. And I also want to publicly say, like I said, me and Belinda, we've known each other for quite some time. I feel like we connected like my last year when I at pharmacy school, I was in Orlando, and you have been just such a woman of grace in so many ways. You encouraged me so much, always helped me to stay rooted in my faith. And she doesn't know little her little check-ins mean the world to me. So I want to thank you for your beautiful spirit and all that you have poured into me throughout the years too.
My pleasure. I'm just pouring a little seed and you throw a little seed in there. We just gonna grow together. So I thank you again. And as I mentioned, for those, if you know someone who is grieving, if you're not really sure where they are in their grief journey, share this. She mentioned several organizations, and I'll get those and tag them as well. But it's okay to receive help.
Yes.
If you can find a therapist, Jesus in therapy, they work hand in hand.
Yes, they
If you need to find an outlet, do that as well. Um, but just know that there are people there who love you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Women of Grace. You can send us a message or email us at info@wograce.com. But we just wanted to take the space to talk about holding love for our family members, but also understand that we're holding the loss of them as well. And it's that duality of balancing the two. Some days may be a little heavier than others, but know that that person loved you,
Mhm.
um, and know that you can, with God's help, continue in the journey that He's called you on. So,
Mhm.
thank you again, ladies, for joining us, and we'll be back for another episode of Girl Talk. So, thank you again.
Thank you guys. Pleasure being